friends, it's Tracey and Violet and Boris. They're my two fluffy bunnies, standard poodles. And Freddie and Jerry from Tea Time with Tracey and Company. I haven't done a video in a long time. I know the video that I had scheduled posted for January was a book haul that was from back in the fall when I unwrapped a whole bunch of book mail. I just thought I really wanted to try on my other YouTube channel, Nova Scotia Living. I was like, I want to sit down and do a goals video and stuff like that. And I just never, ever really got around to it. But I just thought I've been reading a little bit the past couple of weeks, more than I have read in the past couple of months. So I read, I think I have all the books that I've read. I don't know. I don't know, but I'm just going to do what I can do. So one book I can't find. I read Buddha Boy from Kathy Koja, and I have the book. I have the paperback book, but I don't know where it is. So anyways, I have a list, a stack here of books from like December to, as of right now, it's January 30th. So not a whole bunch of books. December was absolutely bonkers with the holidays. I have a house full of kids. I have a lot of events. One of my kids plays hockey 2 times a week. A couple of my other kids play basketball 2 times a week. And it's bananas. It's bananas. So, and then the new year is just trying to get back on track with kids going back to school and stuff. So I just thought, this is not even planned. I was just like, I got 2 loads of laundry under my belt. I just made honey garlic pork for supper, and it's not even 10 o'clock in the morning. I just thought I'll sit down and talk about the books that I did read, that I recall that I read. I might have read a couple other books, but I can't recall. But I have these. I want to put them away. And then I have a stack of books that I'm going to do a separate video on of what I'm hoping to read in the next month. I'm not a TBR person because then that puts too much pressure on me. But I'm going to try. But anyways, yeah, let me just, oh my God, Buddha Boy's right here. Buddha Boy right here. It's not a very big book. Kathy Koja, I read a book of hers last year, I think. It's called The Cipher, and I absolutely loved it. It's a work of fiction, I think. It's labeled as a horror, but for me personally, I'm just like, holy cow, it resonated to me like crazy. It really did. I absolutely loved it, and it's one of those books that are going to stick with me forever. Anyways, I bought a whole bunch of her backlist books that she had wrote years past, and this was one of them, Buddha Boy. It's like, I read this in one day. Like it's not very long, 120 pages or something. It's about a young man who goes to school. He has a shaved head. He's not really the main character of the story. It's a person that kind of makes friends with him. Kind of. I'm not going to give you the whole what's going on in the story, but this young man, I don't know if this is classified as YA, but I think it could be taken as any age, honestly, depending on your interpretation of it. It follows this one boy, the main character. He's a young man, he's in high school, he's kind of popular, but not the most popular, like he's just, he's in the group, he's in the popular group. Boris, what are you doing? He's eating something, just a minute. All right, all clear. Anyways, it's about a young man that's going to school, not the most popular, but not like the loner kind of thing. And a new boy goes to school who has his head shaved, and he's kind of weird. He is getting bullied a lot, but he doesn't seem to mind. Like, he smiles, and he's just like on the bright side of life kind of thing. Like, he just takes it. He rolls with the punches and stuff. And this young man, the main character, kind of takes, like, he doesn't understand why he's so okay with everything. Like, it's not extreme bullying, but it's just like whatever. this young man with the shaved head. He lives with his great aunt, who is very sickly, and it's not a big fancy house or anything like that. And the main character kind of takes him under his wing, and it goes from there. But the main character gets, flack from the other people in the school that are like, why are you even friends with him? Like he's being ostracized for trying to do that. So it's about the battle between the main character trying to be a nice person and really kind of liking this young man, and the politics of high school. So I don't know if this is classified as YA, but I think it could be read for any age that wants to do an introspective look on your own experience. That's what I found. I mean, I'm not an expert at all, but with the Cipher, that's how I took it. I look at what the book was saying and applied it to my life, not literally, but just, oh my God, you know what I mean? It just kind of blast. Yeah, so I would recommend it. It's tiny. I don't know when this was. I buy most of my books secondhand, so this is like all like broken up and everything. I don't know when this was published. It's certainly not a new book. I don't know. So anyways, I read that one. Little tiny book. One I read in December, I'm sure, was Cressley Cole's Poison Princess. Now, this is a YA book. I don't generally read YA. I really don't, but I'm a huge Cressley Cole fan. I have for years, like the past 15 years. I've read everything in her like writing log, the Immortals After Dark, the Players series, the Sutherland Sons or Brothers or something like that. Anyway, she has a YA series, and I had just been holding off because I'm not a YA reader, really. Nothing against it. It's just not my jam. Anyway, she came out with the book Monroe last year, and that was the first book in a few years, and that was in the Immortals After Dark, and I'm just like, oh my God, I need something else. And there's like 5 or 6 books in this series, and I'm just like, okay, well, I have all the books just because it's Cressley Cole. That's the only reason. And I'm just like, I'll read this one. And I read it, and it's very good. It is. It's not like adult. It's not very adult. Like, I know it's young adult, but there's not graphic this or that. But the storyline, it's really good. It's about this young, privileged white girl that's going to school. And 2 schools are merging together. The opposite schools, like from the bayou, that's a little rough around the edges compared to the prep school that she goes to, the preppy kind of school. And they drive motorcycles, the boys from there, and the girls dress a little more scantily compared to what the preppy girls wear and stuff. That's the first, like, that part of the book. And then there's some sort of almost not an apocalypse, but some sort of something that happens. And there's not many people left in the world. The main guy from the bayou kind of school, who is really had a rough upbringing, but he's a tough and muscular and totally handsome guy. And the preppy girl, there's nobody else left. So they kind of hook up and travel, and it goes on from there. There's a lot more going on, but they don't get together like boyfriend or girlfriend or anything like that, but they try to survive together for a little while. And this has to do with tarot cards. The young woman, her grandmother, who had passed away a while ago, had said that she worked with tarot cards. I work with tarot cards. Like, it's not a big deal. But in this book, it's a big thing. It's forecasting the future and things like that. And she's one of the players of the tarot cards. Like, I forget what she is, honestly. But there's the major arcana and the minor arcana, if you know anything about that. But anyways, it's kind of interesting. I want to continue with this series. It's not like urgent, but when I feel like I'm longing for a little more Cressley Cole, I will certainly pick this up And I'm glad I have it. I bought all the series. I think there's a new book coming out this year. I'm not like jumping on the bandwagon to go buy it. I probably will buy it, but not like brand new. I bought the whole series secondhand off of thrift books, like $3 or $4 each. And I have them, so I'll read them when I get around to it. Another one I read, I forget if I read it in December or January. I read Ashley Jade, The Devils series, or Devils. I don't know what it's called. I don't know what the series called. The Devil and The Devil's Advocate. These are like kind of taboo-ish, very dark duet series. This is about a young lady who is just turning 18. Her mother just recently passed away. She's living with her stepfather, they're both outrageously rich, or, you know, like the stepfather is a successful businessman, and she thought that she was going to get kicked out when her mother died, but he's like, no, you can stay here, like all nice and stuff. Anyways, again, taboo. She has kind of feelings for him, like he's handsome and domineering and alpha and all that stuff. Anyways, it jumps back into the history of the stepfather, and he has a rival. I forget names of people, honestly. A rival from high school who is an exceptionally successful businessman, but on a little more of the darker side. And they've always had a rival, even right up to present day, but she had no idea about it. And she's kind of played back and forth between these two, only she has no idea that these two men are playing with her like a chess piece. And it's quite dark and weird, and there's a whole bunch of twists in this series, honestly. Like, a whole bunch of twists. Like, I just, for the little books that they are, I'm just like, oh my god, like it goes from one end to the other and twist around and do a backflip, and it's just like crazy. I really enjoyed it, but I read something else from Ashley Jade, Hate Me or something like that, which was a very dark romance. This certainly is. There's a lot of elements in this that are not for the, you have to be into dark romance to enjoy this, and I would recommend it if you're into dark romance for sure. Very edgy, very like kind of taboo. Everybody's of age, but it's just like, you know, there's a lot of things, like a lot of history that comes to the forefront in the second book that, yeah, this has spanned years. And when you find out at the end, it's like, oh, you know, this is really a web weaved in deception and trust and crazy. That's what it is. One that I recently read, well, the first one before I read that, I read Bitter Heat. I had this book over a year, and I was holding off reading it because anybody that talked about this book, they didn't give a whole bunch about it, but they said it leaves on a big cliffhanger. And I'm just like, oh, well, I'll wait to read that until the second book came out. Right here. I finished this last night. And I'm just like, I'll hold off reading that because I know it's a really good book, according to some people, but I don't want to read it and not have a book out. And it's been a couple years before this second book came out. It just came out this January. I won't talk much about this book, but this book is about a young woman. She comes from a very wealthy family, and like business family. She has two older sisters who are extremely successful, tall, blonde, lanky, you know, right in the corporate world, you know, fighting with men and stuff like that, very successful. Her father, Maximus, is like the, Boris, stop. He's trying to get the hockey balls from the hockey net set up out there. Maximus, he's the father of these three girls, and he's like the cream of the crop business person. Anyways, the third sister, who is not tall and lanky and blonde and stuff like that, all of the three girls have different mothers. She, like, all their marriages were set up, like arranged marriages, like business transactions and things like that, you know, for wealth, money, greed, that sort of thing. Um, the third sister, the youngest sister, like she's 10 years younger than her sisters. And she's set up to marry this guy, Ford. You don't know much about him, but he's kind of a dweeb, I guess. But she comes across another successful businessman, but he doesn't look like one. He's rough and rugged, and he looks like a wrestler with a beard and isn't like in a box kind of thing. She has a bit of an affair. Now, she was young and engaged to this young man, Ford. They weren't married, or they didn't even do anything intimate. Anyways, there was a big scandal when she was young. She ended up leaving this engagement arrangement to go with this other guy. They were married for a couple of years. He was away most of the time on business. They only seen each other two or three times a year. Anyways, the last time she seen him was when she surprised him in London. She was finishing university in the States, but she went over to London to surprise him, and he wasn't expecting her to come. And he was very grumpy and grouchy and things like that. He's like, I don't know if this is all worth it, because the father of her was very upset that she broke this transaction, because he lost millions of dollars because the whole business arrangement, marriage thing. And so she was ostracized from her family. So she went to him and visit her husband in London. He said, I don't know if this is all worth it, and, you know, said a few things. Anyway, she left him. She wanted to divorce him. He wouldn't sign the papers. She went back to her father groveling for help, but this is really, really Cole's Notes kind of thing. He said, you are to never have contact with him again or anything like that. And she agreed, and he eventually signed the papers. We don't know why he did it, because he refused to do it for like a year. So 5 years later, this young woman is still in contact with her ex-husband's mother, who is estranged from the son. If you're picking up what I'm laying down. Anyway, she flies there because she's in turmoil because her father passed away, and she's left to be the executor, and it's just like a whole clusterfuck kind of thing. Honestly, excuse my language. But dog noises, there's always dog noises in my videos. Anyways, when she gets there with her ex-mother-in-law, she stays a couple days, but she wakes up one morning and finds her on the kitchen floor, face down, and this mother-in-law lives out in the boonies on a mountain, and it's, you know, whatever. She rushes her to the hospital, and she needs open heart surgery, and she's like, do you want me to call so-and-so, like her ex-husband? Oh, he won't come. They haven't been in contact in 10 years. And so she stayed there with her ex-mother-in-law until after the surgery. But lo and behold, guess who shows up? And he's a big badass kind of mother flipper. And in a suit, he has a beard, he looks like a wrestler, he's muscly. And she runs from him, like runs. And I won't go further on into it, but he chases her in this hospital, and he's a billionaire. And I'll leave it where he confronts her, and he has his hand around her throat, kind of thing like that. So that's all I'll say about it. It's extremely good. I really, really, really liked it. I liked it so much, I had ordered that, and I was like, I'm going to read it so I can read this when it comes out. I thought it was only going to be 2 books. It's going to be 4 books, maybe 5 books. And I'm just like, for flying flip-flop, because I would have waited so I could read them all. But I ended up reading this. I won't talk about it, but this one's longer than this one. This one's just over 400 pages. I read it in like 24 hours, and it was phenomenal. I really liked it. It's Bitter Heat and Bitter Secrets by Maya Knight. So, read those ones. But between reading this one, I had to wait a day or 2 before this one arrived. So I read Vicious by L.J. Shen. And I think there's controversy about her. I had this book. I have a couple other of her books, but if I have the books, I'm going to read the books. And I have to say, I really liked it. it's it's not a taboo romance, but it's more of a bully romance. And I'm not generally, I've come to realize I don't like reading about high school kids, honestly. They annoy me. I've raised several teenage children, and, well, not several. Well, kind of. Anyways, yeah, anyways. In high school, it focuses around two people, Vicious and Jasmine. Jasmine? No, Jasmine is in that. What the hell's her name? Emilia. Anyways, Vicious's parents, well, it's his father and his stepmother are like extremely rich in this small city, like rich of the rich kind of thing. They hire Emilia's family to be like the housekeeper and the landskeeper and the cook and all that kind of stuff. She's the daughter of that family that live in a side house beside his house. Anyways, he's always mean to her, always like bullying her, and doesn't want anybody to be friends with her and stuff like that. That's just part of the book. That's just part, honestly. Well, at least the first third of the book. And then he ends up like banishing her after she graduates from school. You need to go away or I'm going to get your family fired. And they're not well-to-do, like they're surviving, but whatever. She has a little sister who has cystic fibrosis, and the parents that are hard workers and all that sort of thing. Anyways, he sends her away. You need to leave or this is what's going to happen. And for the well-being of her family, she leaves. Then it jumps forward 10 years, and she's in New York City working at a little dive bar or diner. She wears these skimpy little, like, Hooters or something like that, but it's not Hooters. And takes a lot of crap. She was mugged on her way to work, so she's just a mess. Anyways, he shows up there doing a business agreement with some other guy or whatever, not realizing that she works there. So that's where their paths cross again 10 years later. And it goes from there. Long story short, he becomes a little fascinated with her. He thinks it's because he has a grand scheme in mind to wreck something else, family-oriented. But as he winds her back into his life, she does begrudgingly because she is hard up. Her and her sister live in New York and they don't have any money and they're really just scrimping by. And he becomes obsessed with her. And it's good. It's good. I look forward to reading the other books. I don't know all the drama about L.J. Shen, but I read the book. I like the book. And I condemn whatever drama, but I haven't done the research on it, but I liked it. Another book that I read was, I haven't read it all. After Vicious, I picked up another book because I couldn't wait. I was in the reading frame of mind. I had to wait for this. This was supposed to be here the 29th. It came the 28th. I was going to read this on the 28th, so I started it. I'm like halfway through it, almost. And there's a second book to it. I have both books, but I started this one. I don't know how to say the author's name, and I apologize. I do. This is her debut novel. I don't know how to say that. But this is about a blind ballerina. She's 21 years old. From what I've read so far, there was an incident a couple of years ago where she went blind. She was attacked and assaulted in some way. It hasn't got fully to what exactly happened. And anyway, she's a ballerina. She had danced for years, and then this accident happened. She got back into being a ballerina, and she has this opportunity to go over to London to perform at this big dance place, her and her ballerina friends. Anyways, she lives with her mother and her grandmother, and the grandmother was really encouraging her to do it. The mother was hesitant because how is she going to take care of herself and stuff? Ultimately, she ends up going. And when she goes, she is she's never really had the chance because she was young when this assault happened to have boyfriends and stuff, I believe. That's my impression. But one of the coordinators of the event takes a shine to her. But that's about as far as I got. But her friends, like the ballerina friends, the boys and girls that are ballerinas, are urging her to stay away from him. And I mean, she doesn't go to him, obviously, but he comes to her, sneaks in whenever he gets the opportunity and stuff like that. It says that it's a dark love duet series. Now, it's not that I'm not enjoying it, but it's so straightforward. It's not fleshed out. The characters aren't really, like, you don't really know anything about him. He just pops up every once in a while. I'm not super enjoying it, honestly. I'm going to finish reading it because I own the books, and I will read book 2 because if I own it, I'm going to read it, and if I don't like it, I'll get rid of it. No offense to this author, really, because I see other people talk about different books of this author, and they really like it. I don't know. I don't know. Unless this gets real dark real soon, I'm just like, this almost seems like YA. Like, it's just like, there's no, they tell you about stuff, but they don't show you anything. You know what I mean? They say it, but they don't do it. So I need to see it in my mind, what's going on. You just don't tell me. You need to write it out, flush it out. The characters, she's kind of fleshed out a bit because I know she lives with her mother and her grandmother and stuff like that, but I don't know anything else about her friends that are around her who talk to her. I don't know about her dance history. I don't know about this guy that's just one of the coordinators. There's several coordinators of this, I think it's a 2-week tour. And she just seems very immature in regards to having a crush on this young man. I don't even know if he's young. Like, honestly, I don't know. She doesn't say, or the author doesn't say. I don't know. So I'm going to finish this. Again, I didn't finish it for this video, but I will finish it and probably talk about it in next month's. But I just wanted to say I started this. I also started Skeleton King by I'll put a picture up of it here. Oh, who was it? I forget. Honestly, I do. It's the Dirty Villain series or something. Anyways, I read about 40 pages into it. I didn't finish it, but it's only because it's a Nightmare Before Christmas. If it was Elm Street, that would be awesome. I love Nightmare on Elm Street. Nightmare Before Christmas retelling, only dirty and like smutty, dirty, not even like, anyways, I'm going to read it. I would enjoy it, but not this time of year. I'll save that for September or October. Honestly, usually I can read books any time of the year, but I'm just like, after reading what I was just reading, I don't feel like reading about that. Honestly, I like books. I don't mind if there's a little smut in it, but I like a story. I'm not into straight up just sex and stuff. I need a story, and a good story kind of thing. So anyways, that's all I can think that I've read. I don't know if I've missed anything, but I do have a stack of books here I'm going to do another video on. But yeah, I just wanted to try to catch up before I fell too far behind with trying to do videos for this channel. And I really like doing this channel. It's just on my other channel, I do videos every single day, and it's hard to sit down and talk about individual books. I first started this channel doing like talking about books I read. I might go back to that because I enjoyed it. I could get things off my chest. But anyways, I'm going to end this because it's already long enough. But I'm going to say thanks for joining me and crew. And I'm going to say peace, love, and happiness today and every single day. Please like, share, and subscribe if you so choose. But if not, that's okay too. I still love ya. I still want all the happiness in the world for each and every one of you out there. I certainly do. I really, really honest and truly do. Yes, I do. So anyways, yeah, while I'm here, I'm going to make another video about the books that I want to read in February. So if you're interested, I don't know which video I'm going to put up first, but if it's not this one, that one, anyways. So, okay guys, with that I'm going to say have a good night or have a good morning, and I will see you sometime in the future. Bye! Kablink blonk.